assists. Jalen Johnson, 17 points, not bad. But again, Jalen Brunson, 29 points. Karl Anthony Town had 18. Josh Hart had 15. Anunoby had 14 points. So all of those Knicks starters doing their job, but just wasn't enough yet. All right. Time to welcome in CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez. John, oh my goodness, this game could not have been more stressful down the line. All 5 Knicks starters had double digits, including Mitchell Robinson off the bench. He had 13 points, and they still ended up losing. What happened to the Knicks in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, that's a great question because the Knicks are one of the best, if not the best, fourth quarter team in the NBA. Prior to tonight, Caroline, they were 46-2 with a lead going into the fourth quarter. They had a 12-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and they ended up losing it. Just their third loss of the season with a lead going into the fourth. And they have the best fourth quarter defense in the NBA. That didn't work out. And they have the best fourth quarter point differential during the regular season in the NBA. That didn't work out. So what happened here was Jalen Brunson had 29 points. Fantastic. But they really made him work. The Hawks did on offense. He was just 10 of 26 from the floor, missed some really crucial shots late in this game, and turnovers led to points for the Hawks. That was something that didn't happen in game 1. That's something they fed off of all season long, and that did happen in game 2. Brunson had a critical turnover late in the game when Nickeil Alexander-Walker picked his pocket. They got out on the fast break, and Jalen Johnson ended up converting. So they had 20 fast break points tonight. That's above their season average. They were third in fast break points during the regular season, the Hawks were. So just sort of like a perfect storm for the Hawks in the fourth quarter and an absolutely brutal storm for the Knicks in the fourth quarter. And one more thing I want to say here. They lose this game by 1 point. Well, we'll look at the free throw shooting. The Knicks missed 10 free throws tonight. Yes, CJ McCollum missed those 2 critical ones at the end, but it didn't end up hurting them. But those 10 free throws came back to haunt the Knicks tonight.
Yeah, those 10 free throws could have made all the difference. We have to talk about CJ McCollum. 32 points. Why could the Knicks not seem to stop him?
Yeah, great question, because they have 2 incredible defenders, perimeter defenders, wing defenders, and OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. And actually Josh Hart, too, throwing him in there as well. Josh Hart was on Jalen Johnson for much of the night. They did end up, I think, keying on Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has had a terrible series so far. He's a combined, 8 from 27 from the field? But then you had CJ McCollum stepping up in his absence, right? He went for 26 in the last game. He goes for 32 tonight, and they needed every one of those points. And CJ McCollum, who they got basically as a throw-in when they traded Trae Young, CJ McCollum's on an expiring contract. The Wizards gave him away for Trae Young, and he's been fantastic for the Hawks, exactly what they needed. He's the guy who really knows his role, really good shooter, generally efficient, and a team guy who fits in and in this series has been crucial for the Hawks, who they needed offense in game 1, didn't work out. They got more offense from him and overall in game 2, and they end up stealing one on the road as the series swings back to Atlanta. Man, if you're the Hawks, that's going to be a fun flight back to Atlanta. And if you're the Knicks, man, you're wondering how this happened.
I just have to wonder, do you think the Hawks have kind of found their game plan now with shutting down Jalen Brunson and forcing anyone else to shoot defensively and then offensively going through CJ McCollum?
Yeah, and for sure the first part for the Jalen Brunson component, I mean, in both games, he was not efficient. He had really bad shooting night in game 1 and a really bad shooting night in game 2. Now, he put up points, but he had to work to do it. So the Hawks, I think the theory of the case there is, yeah, all right, if he goes for 29 on 26 shots, we can kind of live with that. And also the other thing here, and I want to just keep coming back to this, the Hawks are really reliant on that defense, right? Using that defense to create turnovers and generate offense. Didn't work out in game 1. In game 2, it very much worked out. They turned the Knicks over 14 times tonight, generated 18 points off of that. And also, they were out on the break. I mean, they didn't really get to run in game 1. It was actually the Knicks who had 22 fast break points in game 1. Well, tonight, the Hawks go for 20, which is above their average when they finished 3rd in the NBA in fast break points. So this formula for them, get out and run, create turnovers, make Jalen Brunson work. It worked tonight.
Yeah, it sure did. And game 3 will be in Atlanta. Series all tied up. So we will see if the Knicks now can try to steal one on the road. John Gonzalez, thanks so much. We're looking at those fourth quarter numbers that we were just talking about. Quite the difference between the Hawks and the Knicks. The Hawks were able to get 28 points to just 15. With the Knicks, you can see that field goal percentage for the Knicks was down 23%. And with those three-pointers, 3 for 11 with the Knicks. So not some good numbers for the Knicks. That fourth quarter usually a strong point for them. Not so hot tonight.
This at the right time, and they're hot at the right time, and man, are they dangerous.
I mean, maybe there's something to sharing a name and also sharing a brain, because you're right, you guys are on the same wavelength. So, John Henson, how do you expect Murray and Jokic to build off game one, or do you think they'll need someone else to step up?
Well, you always have those X factors, and, from Bruce Brown to Hardaway to those guys, someone's going to end up swaying a game eventually. But right now, game two of the first round series, stay the course. You guys have won a championship. You've been in deep playoff runs. They both led their team in box score plus minus, so they had a positive effect on the game. Jokic had a triple-double. Murray didn't even make a three, but went 16 to 60 from the line. So that's just savvy vet type things, right? I'm not hitting shots. Let me get to the line, draw fouls. And, they're such an underrated two-man punch. Like, no one talks about them in the light they should. How, when the Splash Brothers were doing their thing, how we had the whole – maybe that's because we don't have a nickname for them. Maybe that's the problem. So we got to figure that out, me and John, when we get off air. But I think these two guys are going to stay the course and help this team get as far as they can. And with the guys helping around them, like John said, one of the deeper teams, kind of when you zoom out and look, that they've ever had. This Nuggets team is coming for the young boys that are on top.
Yeah, John's right. That two-man game is so good. I mean, we've seen it in previous iterations in the playoffs, right? They did win a championship together after all. Yeah. But again, for Jamal Murray to even raise his level, because forever the talking point was, well, Joker's never played with an all-star. Well, he has now, and he's going to play with an all-NBA selection as well. And that two-man game, they just understand each other so well, and they put so much pressure on the opposing defense. And yes, Joker goes for that triple-double. And Jamal Murray didn't really shoot the ball well from the field, but he was 16 for 16 from the line in game one, and he made big free throw after big free throw in pressure situations, and that is a skill. Getting to the line is a skill. SGA is the MVP in part because of that. Now, some people hate it. It's incredibly valuable, and he's not just getting to the line. He's, then you have to make them as well. It's not just getting the foul call. It's also converting it, right? Because that's what really actually puts pressure on the defense. So Murray's done that. He's really stepped up this season. They're a great team offensively overall. They have a lot of different ways that they can beat you, but those two guys are where it all starts. And to have that redundancy where you're going to get a good game from one of them, and if you get a good game from both of them, that's really putting the opposition up against it.
Well, John Henson, I'm going to give you homework, and you have to come up with a nickname for this duo because you put it out there.
That's the problem. We don't have a nickname for them, so we can't kind of make it a national thing. So I'll have to figure that out.
Hey, you could start. You could be the first. Okay, John Gonzalez, though, I'm starting with you now. Anthony Edwards led the T-Wolves in game one with 22 points, despite this ongoing battle with his knee injury. So what do you expect out of his game two performance?
Yeah, he came out of that saying that he was fine, that he was rusty because they had some time off. They were locked into that 6th seed, so they didn't want to really push him. And he is dealing with that knee injury where he's only played 4 games in the last month, so that kind of contributes to it. But still, he goes for 22 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. His shot looked a little off. He only made 2 of his 9 threes, but it wasn't the problem in game one, right? I thought he moved well. He's always aggressive. They need him to be. They need him to be himself because they're dead in the water without him. I think they might be dead in the water with him, though, because back-to-back Western Conference finals, when you look at the road of the Western Conference or even in the Eastern Conference, I think the Wolves have the toughest playoff path of any team in the playoffs, right? I mean, having the Nuggets in the first round is a huge bummer. If the Nuggets had lost on the final day of the regular season, instead of beating the Spurs, the Lakers would have had the 3 seed and the Wolves would have been in business. They would have been thinking to themselves, thank God that we don't have to face the Nuggets. Unfortunately, they do have to face the Nuggets. So even if Ant stepping up just gets them into this conversation, without him, I think that this is a wrap.
Yeah, I a little concerned when you saw the video of him with both knee wraps, a towel. He looked like I look when I'm done playing at LA Fitness, and I'm 35 years old. So, yeah, he's played 75 games year over year plus in his last 4 or 5 years. You kind of saw, even when he caught off the bench, it took him a while to get going. I was